Hey, awesomes. It's your girl, Cree. Another episode of Her Woman Evolves on AWE Radio. Always on, we are, with information and inspiration for your transformation. I'm really excited because on today's episode of Her Woman Evolves, and as you may recall, it is the Brownie Cornell Lewis, Her Woman Evolves series that we're doing every Monday and repeated throughout the week from time to time. So please be sure and check your broadcasting schedule on womanevolvesnetwork.com. Scroll all the way down and hit that player button and you'll see the broadcasting schedule right below it. But today we have a very special guest on AWE Radio and in this series, and it is Miss Regina Adams, who I always say is the CEO of Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation, but she has a much fancier title, and I'll let her give a little bit more insight. But she's also my sister. And so I want to be really transparent about that because I'm really excited and proud of all the things that she has done throughout her career. And I'm just really honored to have you today, Regina, to share your own story. So welcome to AWE Radio and the Her Woman Evolved series.
Hey, Coco.
All right. So let's just get right into it because we have so much to talk about. All right. So looking over your life experiences, what would you say is your personal woman evolves?
Well, giving it a little bit of thought, I would say I've evolved throughout life through the levels or the stages of life. That's just a normal transition or evolution. But what I've strived to evolve to is to be more open, more sharing. I'm a career manager or career woman, and so I'm used to being in control. And the family would say, always trying to be in control of you guys. But in social settings, I tend to step back and just watch things happen as opposed to engaging outside of personal or family events. And I have always framed what was going on with me around what was going on with the family. Well, I'm deciding that I'm taking my life and my personal thing and saying, this is what Regina is all about. It was brought to my attention by a very good friend in Germany. And then, as you know, the cancer scare, not a scare, but an awakening that it was time for me to say, what, Regina, are you all about? And it's about being me.
I love that. I love that. And I know that so many of our listeners will relate to that. You talked about your journey with cancer. Can you share a little bit more about that with us? And congratulations on getting to the other side of that, by the way.
Yeah, it was a journey that having family there with me throughout the whole thing was very, very good. But I had, going in, I had a different perspective on what the journey was and what it is, I'm sure, for millions of other people. But for me, it was the journey through. It was invasive, of course, but not to the extent where I was frightened by it. I knew that God was going to bring me through. I knew that life had something for me. I had had other incidences in my life which were fortuitous and saying, okay, you've got something else you've got to do. And I got through it relatively easy, but being in the Cancer Treatment Center of America and being around a lot of patients, I saw a lot of anguish and a lot of people in pain. And I was thanking the Father for the journey he put me on, but I took the opportunity to do what I just said, being more open, because I'm not an introvert, but talking is not my big thing. It's more, just sitting back. But I would talk to them. I would share. I would, ask how they're doing, and be, get with them, and try to make their day easier. Try to see what I could do to help them. And that for me was an awakening. It was saying to me, you need to wake up. You need to share what you have, what he's given you, with others.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm really proud that Coco and A Woman Evolves were able to pay tribute in one of the shows, in one of the A Woman Evolves shows, to survivors of all kinds of cancer. We were celebrating you and your journey through breast cancer, of course, but we wore our pink ribbons on stage, and we are still inspired by your journey and your message to others. And we appreciate you coming on to AW Radio and giving that same message to other people. And speaking of that, what would you say to people? Well, I'll do it a two-part question. One, people who are just discovering that they have breast cancer or any other cancer. And then, just so you're thinking, and then people who are supporting, who would like to support people on their journey.
That there's a way through.
Yeah.
There is life on the other side.
Yes.
And don't be put off or so impacted by the journey through and what happens and what changes, but look at where you end up, and working with what you have, and knowing that it's a blessing to be able to say, I'm through. I mean, I had to go through all phases. The actual surgery, I had chemo, I had radiation, I had to do the I can't even think of it now.
Mastectomy.
But well, yeah, that's the surgery. But take the pills for 5 years. The
hormone treatment.
Hormone treatments, yes, for 5 years, and got the all clear. But all of it was necessary. Whether there was some added that I didn't need to do, okay, cool. But we are here because of where we were and what we did.
That is powerful. That is very, very powerful. How long have you been in the clear, I should say?
I would say I'm on my, 2015, so 7 years.
7 years.
Cancer?
No cancer. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
And I think, they take some precautions not to say it too early, because they got you on the hormones and they got you doing it, so they want to do whatever. But coming out of surgery, they say, we got it all, we did this. But I will take the win whenever they said it.
I know that's right. Well, congratulations, and we're taking the win with you and celebrating. So thank you for sharing that powerful story. Now, I happen to have it on pretty good authority that you did quite a bit of time in, and don't worry, folks, I don't mean, I mean you lived quite a while overseas, internationally. I don't mean that you actually did, kind of incarceration time. That's not what we're trying to say here. But it's interesting that you decided to move out of the country. So you went from North Little Rock, Arkansas to Evanston, Illinois. Okay, big jump, Frankfurt, Germany. And then after that, Seoul, Korea. Come on, what's going on here?
Well, I decided, listen, I'm going to take my life in my hands, and I am going to do something that I'd never done. And it surprised the family. But
it sure surprised me. Full transparency, folks. I was shocked.
Wait a minute. Our mother, it surprised more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told by coworkers that the opportunities overseas were just off the roof. You could move up fast. You could make more money. All true. And don't tell Mom, but that there were men galore.
I'm definitely going to tell her.
Don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. The first two were true. The second was true. There were a lot of men. This was the military, right? I was a civilian working for the military.
Yes.
But they were geographical bachelors, which means married families, but the families were back in
Oh,
the
wow.
United States, so they were not available.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But funny story, it was such a surprise to the family that mother, aside from going off to college and then coming home, mother moved to Illinois. I moved. This move was the first time I was going to be dislocated from her, and she didn't believe it. She was such a disbeliever that she, as they came and took my stuff and loaded it up, the movers, as they put it on the truck and took it away, she still
didn't believe it.
In denial. You remember, she and Eleanor followed me in the car all the way to Bayonne, New Jersey, to the port for them to take my stuff. They took it away.
Still didn't believe it.
Still didn't believe it. Went to the airport with me.
Are you kidding? I know. This is something I did not know.
She still didn't believe it until I walked out of the airport and got on the plane and said, "Goodbye, Mom."
She's like, is she really leaving?
She's like, "Gina, you really going?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom." I couldn't cry though, and it was very, very close because I knew if I did, it was just going to devastate her.
Yes.
So I took the kids. I had two girls. Well, I had two girls,
right.
But they were very young at that time. We walked into the plane, and I just lost.
Oh my goodness!
I just lost.
Oh my goodness! Well, looking back, I'm pretty sure you have no regrets. I know that was an incredible experience for you, and thank you also for bringing me over there from time to time. While I was in law school and even after I graduated, to visit. So, you talked about your two girls, one of whom was actually on AWE radio talking about her personal journey with vitiligo and being the logistics coordinator for the AWE We event and just her own personal journey. And that was amazing as well. But what was it like raising young Black girls outside the United States?
I believe a very different experience in raising them in the States. It made them, I would say, naive to the ways of the States. They didn't get, they had the Black experience, but it was a military experience. And I would say more military than international, because being a civilian working for the military, we had full on-post activities, and we had the benefits. So we could go on to the PX, we could go to the commissary, we could use the movie theaters. Everything we did was on post, church, everything. But I didn't really like that, because that meant I worked and then socialized. You see them in the store, you go to church, all of that was the same. So the rank system, you got to adhere to that in church or wherever, right? Now, I was a boss, so I had employees, but I had bosses, and so I was also an employee. Mm-hmm. So when you step out of work on the weekend, you want to be, away from that. Mm-hmm. You didn't get that on the post. Mm. Now, if you're in the military, you're used to that. If you're a civilian, not so much. Well, living outside of post, and the girls being athletes and playing ball, they played on German teams, so therefore they got ingratiated in the local customs, spoke the language fluently. Leah, the youngest, even got a second major in German.
Amazing.
And so they, really had a great time. I didn't speak the language, but I had employees. They had to speak the language in order to work for the government. Mm-hmm. And, I left there and went to Korea, same thing, they had to speak, but the girls were then all in college, so they didn't go over there with me, but they had to speak the language, and they tried to teach me a little bit in both places, but, I'm not wanting to do that.
That's amazing. I think that's amazing, and we're running across so many people at Woman Boss LLC as we're building relationships, finding out there are so many women who have wonderful stories about their experience in the military, whether it's in the military, and I think your perspective is a bit different because we're civilian and a civilian in leadership in the military. I would love to have you come on. I want to do a panel virtually and just bring some women together just to talk and share about their experiences together. I would love to have you be a part of that. And I'm making a mental note. And Awesomes, you hold me, keep me honest, and you make a mental note too. If you don't see that coming up in the next month or so, then yeah, you ping me and remind me that that's what we want to do, because I really want to continue on exploring that journey. I'm fascinated by it personally. Um, Pivoting a little bit to the music, of course, you come from a musical family, uh, dad's side, mom's side, siblings, and all of that. But talk a little bit about your personal music journey and what does music really mean to you?
Well, from birth, singing was a requirement. But being away from the family, overseas, what, 25, 30, 20
Wow,
years,
20
I
plus
wasn't
years?
ingratiated in the latter years as
Mm-hmm.
you guys were.
Mm-hmm.
But I did participate as I could, and that, I came home every year for Mother's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We sang during those times. During the shows, I came home, and we even tried rehearsing. You'd send the tapes. Got to
Yeah.
rehearse by myself. We tried to do it, on the phones.
Yeah, we
That didn't
tried
work
it
out
all.
too well.
We've tried it all.
We'd come back and then we'd rehearse and we'd get the shows together. And oh, what fun that was! Spending time together, having little challenges, yeah, but the reward was just
Yeah.
so much greater.
That's so interesting. And you're right. We have tried everything, but it is. I've said a lot on my stage production on Woman Evolves, that I've had the great fortune of working with so many industry greats. But I think the greatest joy that I've had over the years has been performing with my family. So thank you for being a part of that experience. Now, we know that you have been involved in, well, I know that you've been involved in leadership within Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation, our primary sponsor, for many years. Well, I will say since its inception.
Yes.
So, and I always say you're the CEO, but like I said, she has a very fancy name for what she does. But you talk about your role and how it has evolved over time.
Well, the mainstay is the operations and financial. But as the company evolved, originally entertainment and music, I got involved, and this was a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
in doing the liner notes and the CD
Yes,
covers and
yes,
uh, getting the girls together, schedules, and doing the shows and dealing with the venues and that kind of stuff.
yes.
That was a lot of fun. As we evolved into the women and youth thing, it was still the former, business and finance, but it was more finding opportunities to sponsor and
Mm-hmm.
support youth and women,
Oh
and
yeah.
how that all went together. But the role didn't change, it's
Mm-hmm.
just the focus.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when we were Coco Entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in um, let's see, Illinois, then Minnesota, and we used to say we were a full service entertainment
Absolutely.
company.
Absolutely.
And then we evolved to Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation, since being based here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So it's been really great, but you definitely have been a mainstay for Cocoa. We really appreciate all that you have done for our development and in support of our mission and goals. So thank you for that. And you talked a little bit about being a background singer on the stage production A Woman Evolves, and sharing, some of the challenges there, but definitely the rewards you were alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Well, I love the stage production because
Mm-hmm.
it gave us, an opportunity to be on stage and,
Mm-hmm.
and to do it. I enjoyed, I mean, it was more of a collaborative or a full performance type thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw from the transition into the biopic was, whoa. Girl, you did it. You
Thank you.
did it. It was many emotions for me. It was like pride. It was joy. I was in awe of your
Pun
accomplishment.
intended, AWE.
Yeah. But I mean, just sheer excitement and overwhelming empowerment of what was given there, and the things you chose to focus on. I mean, it was like, you know, miraculous. It was marvelous. It was great. It was, the message was the same. Clarity still there. The themes were right up front in your face, you know, for you to receive or savor. But the stage passages you chose were just mega.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. And frankly, you're the only one who is positioned to speak. Well, I suppose the other girls too can speak just from viewing and being a part of the stage production and then transitioning and seeing the transition to the biopic, but being in leadership in Coco and putting those stage productions on. And let me hasten to say, we are not done with the stage production.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying, hey, listen, it was so well done. It was as good as any film I'd ever seen. And I wasn't in it, so I normally say it because
you were in it. You actually were in it.
That's right. I got a little cameo.
Ladies, can we talk? That's what it was. You definitely were in it.
But no,
and you were in it in the family scene.
That's correct.
So go ahead and correct all of that.
I apologize. But it was so well done, and you know me. I'm bragging to everybody, and of course, my role was, embellished. I had to tell them all the things I did. So
exactly.
When they come back and ask me, you make sure you
support
me. All right. But no, it should be shopped. It should be more publicly provided out to the world, because there was something there for everybody. It was, men, women, old, young. It was something for everybody to receive as much, as little as they needed or wanted. It was great.
Well, I definitely appreciate that perspective. It means so much to me, because I really try to pour my heart and soul into these. And what I love, I think, most about what you said is that the message is the same. And that's something, folks, that we should all be thinking about on our journeys. Is if you have a principal message, there's more than one way to tell it. And so you tap into your experiences and your gifts, and you reach in and you meet people where they are, and you tell that same story. So that really is very, very, very affirming for me to hear you say that. And I got to pause too. If you guys are avid AWE radio listeners, you may remember Regina being on a panel where we did a recap of the biopic, and she's quite humorous there. But yeah, I mean, this was one of the things that we didn't talk about. One of the things that we did talk about was what a lot of people may not know. Fun fact is that when I was originally writing the stage production, it was because I was taking a break, waiting for the results of the law, taking the bar, coming out of law school and all. And you brought me out to Frankfurt, and I holed up in one of your rooms and came out with the production of Woman Evolves, and the rest is history. So still no royalties before you even ask. No royalties, because you guys have to know my sister in finance. She's first going to we are not leaving anything on the table, but no royalties. But certainly a huge thank you for bringing me there and where I got the inspiration for A Woman Evolves. So appreciate you for that. So speaking of the biopic, now you know that we recently did our very first, and again, thank you, as Coco was the sponsor for the A Woman Evolves Women's Empowerment Extravaganza, where we released the biopic to a selected audience. So how was the biopic? I mean, excuse me, you told me about the biopic, but how was we?
I loved it. It was everything to everybody. I mean, I didn't. Scanned the room, and that's what I do. I just sit back and look and see what's going on to be able to come back and report. And I didn't see anybody that was not just overwhelmed by the joy or the happiness. There was something there that everybody could take from.
Yeah.
It was. If you didn't want to dance, you didn't have to, because you could just, sit around and conversate with the people. If you didn't want to drink, I did. Then you could, sit and eat, and the food was good. If you didn't
Credit
want
to
to
Chef Corey McFarland.
listen to the music, marvelous. Everything was great.
Yes.
It was an intimate, glamorous, luxurious event. Just anything anybody could want. And that red carpet, come on, come on. We thought we were at some kind of awards, and I strutted down like I was. Yes,
you did. You looked beautiful. And yes, we just wanted to, and I won't say just, because we were very intentional about having our folks, the attendees, take a little time away from their day-to-day, from everything that they're always doing for everyone else. You know how we do, folks. And we had women and men there as well. But just take a little time out to celebrate yourself and to give yourself permission to focus on self. Because culturally, we are not necessarily encouraged to do that. It seems more selfish. But we just wanted to take those 2 days, because it started, as you know, with a reception at St. John Boutique in Charlotte, and then from there to the Historic Mint Museum for just really an extravaganza. So thank you for participating, and thank you again for your part in Coco and its sponsorship of the event. And you never know what will happen next year. And thanks to all of you listeners who joined in and participated in the event. And for those of you who could not attend, stay tuned, because we will be able to show you a recap of the event right here on AWE Radio. So back to you, Regina, kind of pivoting again to you and your journey. So you have retired from your service, and thank you for your contribution. I know you weren't actually in the military, but you certainly were right there in helping to do what it does there. So what has retirement been like for you?
Relaxing, rejuvenating. And I always say I was in the military because what I did made the military work.
I love that.
I've worked since I graduated from high school until I retired in 2013 and returned to the United States. But I've continued with my nonprofit, not-for-profit work and my own small adventures. So I've been active, but not in a traditional position.
Sure. Absolutely. What's next for Regina Adams?
Well,
any new ventures?
I founded and started an LLC, ABCD Program and Resource Management, which I started for a specific purpose, which was to address a problem that I saw with what was going on with the COVID funds that had been appropriated by the government for all of the issues that we were having during COVID. I was offering my service, meaning coming out of retirement, as well as the service of other professionals who had expertise in things like that, money management or just management period, but something that would help get the programs back on track. Well, I didn't get
very much needed, I would say.
Yeah, well, not very much traction, and I believe because the timing just was not right.
Okay.
Found out that things had already gone awry. So I'm now trying to determine how best to revamp the program to better serve the current needs of the government or other entities.
That's good. I love that. I absolutely love that. And as you move forward in the development of that, I would love for you to come back to AWE Radio and talk about that.
Sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, one question that I love to ask all the folks that come on to the Her Woman Evolves series, do you think it is important for women to share their personal A Woman Evolves stories with each other and the world? And why or why not?
I do. And I think it's important because people tend to believe or follow the lead of those people that they identify with or with whom they
Representation.
share a
Yeah.
common a bond.
Mm,
So
I love
where
that.
you think it doesn't matter, you may touch somebody that I cannot because they just don't know me or just don't identify with me.
That's good. That's good. That is really, really good. That's really all about representation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so it kind of says that our story is not just our story. Let me just talk on this for a second. It's not that our story is our own personal stories, but our stories are for the folks that we're delivering the message to, right? It's not that we are on our own personal journeys for our own gratification. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to make sure that we are, being healed through our own stories, without a doubt. But our messages are for the people that are to receive the messages. I love that. I love that. I love that. For those of you who are just tuning in, we have been talking to uh, Regina Adams, and she is, I say, A Woman Evolves, uh, or Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment and Foundation. We are so closely connected, but she is our chief operating officer. But again, she has a fancier name, but that's what I want to say because she always says her title is tied to finances, but I think her title, her role, her function is much broader than that. And we again thank you, Regina, and thank Coco for the close partnership and collaboration. But I was just loving that what you were saying about why we should tell our stories. I love that. I love that it's not just for us, but it's for everyone else. Now, you've sent me off on a tangent, but I want to end with you for sure. Any final thoughts for the AWE radio audience?
I just say, know yourself, who you are, what you stand for, what you want the world to see from you, and do it unapologetically. Be empowered. I love you all, and thanks, Cole, for having me.
Oh, well, we all love you, and thank you for being here. You've heard it. Regina Adams, Chief Operating Officer of Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation. We thank you so much for sharing your amazingly inspiring story with us. We look forward to having you come back and join us again. And folks, of course, it's your girl Corrie here on AWE Radio, where we are always on with information and inspiration for your transformation. Until next time, enjoy the journey.
Themselves as opposed to just giving all the time. But I want them to know that you have something in life too.
Yes.
You get out there and get it for you. You eat, you live, you breathe. You bleed, you live.
Yes.
So it's up to you to get on out there and if whether you're 6 or 60. 8 or 80, 9 or 90, life is what you say it is.
Oh, yes.
It's not over until you say it's over.
I absolutely love that. And frankly, Dr. C, I think that is ageless. I really, really do. Because one of the things that this reminds me of, and folks, we're going to get back to the list of things that we're going to be doing on the show, but I just want to talk about this. Just sit in this for a second, because I remember when you retired from pastoring, and you were in Illinois, and you came back and you came here to Charlotte with me,
Mm-hmm.
and you were saying that, look, I put everything up, and I was thinking, oh, that it's, that I'm done.
Yeah.
But then, you came to that realization that, look, it's not really over
It's
until I
not
say it's
all
over.
right, right. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's still things you need